Welcome to Whisperwood Stories. Today we're going to read 3 true scary encounters. 2 from r/creepyencounters and 1 from r/LetsNotMeet. Let's begin. Our first story is from Chemical Dirt. Customer barely escaped an aggressive harasser. This happened at my work just a few nights ago, and it definitely felt like a case of being in the right place at the right time. I had just gotten back from my break and was on my way back to my workstation when a middle-aged woman stopped me and asked me for help getting into the store's Wi-Fi. After a few minutes of trying to fiddle with it and troubleshoot, we found that her phone was almost completely without service. She reacted to this with a level of distress that seemed to go above and beyond mere frustration over not being able to use an app. I sensed that something serious was going on, so I asked her, "If you don't mind me asking, what exactly are you trying to do? Maybe I can help you figure out an alternative?" She then informed me that she was in an unsafe situation. She mentioned a psycho who had been trying to follow her, and said she was trying to call a friend of hers for help. Despite the fact that I'm technically only supposed to use it for work-related purposes on the clock, I immediately offered to let her use my phone, and she gratefully accepted. Her friend luckily picked up the call from my phone, and in her conversation with them, I heard her say things like, "I accepted help from someone whose intentions turned out to be no good, and now he's after me. I'm at Walmart. I'm scared he's gonna come into the store and find me. Please come pick me up ASAP." After she hung up, I asked her if her friend was on their way and if she was gonna be okay. She said yes, so I made my way to my workstation after wishing her well. Around 10 minutes later, I saw the woman again passing by my work area, this time with a man. I hoped and prayed that the man was her friend and not her harasser. About another 15 minutes later, the two of them came through my line to check out. I looked for an opportunity to pull the woman aside and discreetly ask her who the man with her was. Before I could do so, an old, bald man in a grimy corduroy jumpsuit approached both of them and began very insistently trying to get the woman to go to his car. The man, who I now realize was indeed the woman's friend, stood between the woman and the creep and firmly told him that she would not be going with him. The creep was persistent, and the friend basically had to tell him to screw off before he got the hint and fled. I turned to the woman and spoke up, "I take it that was the guy who was bothering you? Damn, he even looked like a creep. Are you okay now?" The woman nodded and thanked me for my help in getting her in touch with her friend. She then turned to her friend and explained, "She's the one who helped me by letting me use her phone." Her friend turned to me with a smile and asked, "That was you, huh? With your out-of-state number? Well, thank you for helping her. She's a dear friend of mine." I smiled back and assured them both that I was happy to help and glad they were both okay. They finished checking out, and I saw them leave the store without any further troubles. I'm glad I was able to play a part in ensuring her safety. Our second story is from Rose, my fake friend that I could have avoided earlier. This happened to me back in 2008 to early 2010s. When I was 11, I met a girl who was the same age as me, since 6th grade. She and I weren't the same classmates until high school, but we were in the same school. By the middle of 6th grade, things got creepy. Somehow, she was everywhere every time I had an extra class, including every time I had to switch from another schedule to another schedule. My entire life, I never gave my private information to her, but she knew something by the look in her eyes. Unfortunately, I had reported it to the teacher and faculty members, but they brushed off my warning as a ruse, because I didn't have enough evidence to prove it was her. What's worse is that we weren't allowed to bring any electronic devices, like phones for example, so I couldn't use that evidence against her. And there's not much I can do with a calculator for math or physics. This bothered me forever. She even shared the same home economics class and swimming lessons during the 8th grade, but yet again not the same group. Even in 9th grade, she still kept following me non-stop, despite me warning her to leave me alone. After I graduated at 15, I left for a high school to start over. Even though I forgot about her until the middle of October 2012, she was back. My skin turned pale and my heart beat like I was in panic mode. This girl, how did she even know what high school I went to? And more importantly, I again didn't leak my information everywhere, not even to her. Once again, she won't leave me alone, and she starts to get worse. She guilt-tripped me into befriending her, to let her use my belongings whether she had permission or not. Despite her soft manner, it was a red flag to begin with, that I could have avoided sooner. Another time, she overheard me and my classmate having a conversation about me wanting a key charm that my classmate had. And on the next day, she attacked me after I took a seat in the class because she knew that I wanted something that she didn't. This particular incident caught the attention of the principal in my high school, and the whole situation ended by writing a statement report. I ended up having to rewrite it twice because of errors in grammar. She ended up getting suspended for a week, but it wasn't enough. She returned after that week and blamed her suspending on me, which I wasn't involved with at all, even though she attacked me, and I didn't have any other choice but to report my statement for my safety. And once again, she guilt-tripped me for other reasons, by calling me a terrible friend, even going so far as to destroy one of my belongings. I called her out, but she pretended she didn't remember it. Worse, she framed another student for doing it, and refused to admit her mistakes. That was the last straw, and it made my blood boil. But I didn't want to show her my anger, because she gave me a watch in exchange, but it turned out she stole that too. All of my peers and teachers that witnessed the incidents warned me that I should end my friendship with her. She wasn't my friend, just saw me as a pawn, and manipulated me by taking advantage of my kindness and trust. We were still in the same high school, but I quietly, not outright, distanced myself from her. That is, until early December of 2012. That was the last time I saw her, and I guess she was expelled after her last warning from one of my peers. I felt relieved when she was expelled, but I will never forget what she did, and not only to me, but half of my other peers as well. It took me until the end of high school to realize that she was not a good friend. Her attitude was very creepy, and maybe sociopathic, and it was the reason why I had to end things with her for good. Luckily, I didn't give her a phone number or address, so I managed to avoid that red flag. It's been almost 16 years since this incident took place. After I finished high school in 2015, I'm almost 27 and currently have a job. The experience made it difficult to trust someone or refriend them again. So, to this girl that I used to be friends with, let's not meet again. Ever. Our last story is from illiterateaardvark. Am I being paranoid? Or was I almost the victim of an elaborate mugging or kidnapping? I do some volunteering at a hospital 3 times a week that involves me reporting to the hospital at 5 a.m. I enjoy the volunteering. I've been doing it for almost 2 years, and I have never had any issues. Until last week. Last week, I was a bit early on one of my volunteering days, and I had about 30 minutes before I had to report in. I normally would have just waited in my car, But I had been pretty stressed about things in my personal life, so I thought I'd go for a little walk to burn a little steam and clear my head. After all, this is in a pretty nice area, upscale West Los Angeles. So what could go wrong? It's like 4:30 a.m., so naturally the streets are all quiet, but it seems pretty peaceful. But then, up ahead, I see somebody walking in my direction. Kinda odd, I guess, but I didn't think too much of it. Him being out there at this hour isn't inherently suspicious. After all, does being out here at this hour automatically make me suspicious too? So I keep walking. We make quick eye contact when we cross paths, and I suddenly got a very bad feeling about this man. I can't explain it other than instinct. Sometimes you just have a bad gut feeling about somebody, you know? That's what I felt when I passed this man, and I ultimately went on high alerts and made sure he wasn't going to approach me from behind or something. Very soon after walking by this man, I'm talking like 15 to 20 seconds, I passed by one of the many parked cars on the street. This is Los Angeles, so there are a lot of parked cars on the sides of main streets. Except this parked car is different. There is a man sitting at the wheel, and the man waves at me and beckons me over. Again, pretty darn creepy, but not inherently worth freaking out over. But as I keep walking, I realize that while the car was parked, it wasn't off, it was simply in park. Because this car starts driving in the same direction that I am walking, and it drives at a pace essentially matching my walking speed. At this point, I've had enough, and my brain is saying nope, so I immediately turn around and start speed walking back in the direction that I came from. Then I saw something that, in that moment, scared the heck out of me. That first man that I had encountered walking the other direction, which was now probably like 40 seconds ago, was now standing pretty close to me. Like, way closer than somebody who had been walking in the other direction should be. And then he makes eye contact with me, and then he starts walking in my direction. I am incredibly suspicious, and more than a bit nervous at this point. So because it is pretty dark out, I decide to play a hunch. My car keys fold out in a manner very similar to a switchblade, so I immediately pull it out, press the button to make the key fold out, and stare at him for a second. I believe he was caught off guard, because he stopped walking for a second. Well, that second was all I needed. I immediately took off running at top speed, crossed the street, we're talking a Los Angeles main street with like 6 lanes, and a median divider, and kept running down the street. I'm no Olympian, but I was on the cross-country team at a D2 college, and I still run multiple times a week, so I'm pretty confident that I can outrun the average person I run into by a comfortable margin. Still, I didn't take any chances and ran all the way back to the hospital. So what do you guys think? I'm not crazy, right? I'm not necessarily saying I was going to be the next prominent murder victim or a kidnapping victim. There was definitely something going on here. Right. Thank you for listening to Whisperwood Stories. If you enjoyed, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. Do you have a story that you'd like me to read here? Consider commenting or sending it to whisperwoodsubmissions@gmail.com. The stories in this video were read with the author's permissions. Thank you again for listening, and be sure to check out the original Reddit posts. Want to support me? Check the link below where you can leave a tip if you wish. And remember, don't let the shadows get too close. Good night.